Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Agentic Data Room webinar. Thank you for taking the time from your busy schedule and attending. I'll give a minute and then I will start so that everybody can participate. I will first go ahead and share my screen. So just a quick confirmation. Can people see my screen? Just give me a text or something. Right. So if you can, I'll spend a minute on giving a high-level overview of what is agentic data room. First of all, the problem. Every time people try to analyze a deal, analysts have to pore over tens of documents, which are hundreds of pages, right? And that takes easily 8 to 15 hours of an analyst's time. This is all manual, and the data rooms are usually document storage only. There is no extraction, there is no modeling layer. It's full of spreadsheets, but it is all manual cross-checking of facts. So it is very tedious, very manual, very intense in terms of human time. So agentic data room solves that problem by having a set of AI agents which will participate in extracting the document, creating financial models, doing any kind of risk detection. So this actually speeds up both the time in doing this analysis and also reduces the costs because you can do it over and over. The biggest benefit is creating a structured process, which I am going to show you. But there are some hidden things which are very critical. First of all, we are using a credit-based system so that you are not locked into any subscription. You can use a usage-based analysis. You can use agentic data room per usage basis. The process is very simple. You can select a workspace, you can upload your documents, you can preview your cost, AI will execute, and you'll get your output. We also have a set of AI agents. Orchestrator Omni sits at the center. He's like the concierge. And then, depending on the workflow, he will invoke different agents. So, if it's generating an offering memorandum, he will reach out to Marketing Mary. If it's very detailed analysis, he'll call Analyst Annie. If it's doing a due diligence on an investment, he'll call Diligent Dave. If it's doing lease abstractions, extracting all the legal materials, they'll call Legal Laurie. So these agents are orchestrated, coordinated, managed, whatever you say, by Orchestrator Omni. Omni, by the way, Latin word for multiple. So that's where it comes from. Now, the interesting thing is, and I'll elaborate on this later, we are trying to make this AI can be very, very, very expensive, and we are trying to make it AI very affordable. So every time a page is analyzed, the AI agents first does an estimate. Typically, it takes like around 4 cents per page. We work on a credit-based system, and I'm going to show it to you. And offering memorandum is like 3 cents. Generating a podcast is 2 cents per page of the document, and lease analysis is 1 cent. There are also interesting thing is the same framework can be reused for multiple workspaces and multiple workflows. Today, we are going to focus on basic financial analysis because it has got the broadest appeal and anybody can connect with that. But you can apply it for doing commercial mortgage-backed securities. We are working with a very interested commercial mortgage broker who wants to take agent data room and apply it there. Of course, CRE is our core, and any kind of commercial real estate asset manager or operator can use it to monitor their asset, do lease abstraction. The net is the same framework can be modified, extended, or customized for different workflows. So, with that introduction, I will go into the actual software. So, if you come to Agentic Data Room, you'll be greeted by a set of agents. Again, as I told you, Orchestrator Omni, Marketing Mary, Analyst Annie. But the big thing to note, and by the way, we will do a series of these webinars where we will take one topic and dig much deeper. So, in a subsequent session, we will talk about why these agents are so special. These are not just pretty pictures. If you kind of click on an agent, you will see that these agents have first of all, they're very standards oriented, meaning Google and IBM came up with A2A standards, agent to agent protocol. Anthropic came up with MCP protocol, where agents can invoke external APIs and tools. So our agents are fully standards based, open standards based, so that they can be extensible. Basically, the agents will publish an agent card, so to speak, their capabilities, and based on the agent card, you can other agents can interact with it. But a very interesting thing, and I'll dedicate a whole session subsequently, is something called X402. It provides the payment rails, and that's how we can make the payments so affordable. But the other key thing of this is that also when you come into this, you will see that the agents have an identity registry and a feedback registry. Whenever you use an agent, you can leave a feedback, and these would be etched in the agent so that you can subsequently find their reputation score. Imagine this like having a Yelp for an agent. Right. So before you utilize an agent, you can find out her reputation score, her identity score, what have you. Now, every agent will be etched on the blockchain because that is tamper resistant and transparent. They have a wallet on the blockchain where you can pay them. You can find out how long they have been utilized for. So I'll dedicate an entire session on this. This is very, very interesting and very, I would say, open standards, very modern, and we are entering the agentic economy. Now comes to about the usage of this. So we have built a credit-based system where you can buy credits, like you can, for as low as $9, you can buy 100 credits. You don't have to pay any money. Thanks for attending this webinar. I'll send you invites to this. So you can buy 100 credits and utilize using that. For $100, you can buy as much as 1,500 credits. Right now, this particular room is loaded up with credits, so it should work. And how are credits used? So if you come to agent rates, it will show you like what I'm showing you in the document, that asset analysis is 3.5 credits, offering memorandum is 3 credits per page, that is. Now, before you give a job, the AI agent will go through your pages, and here's a sample calculation. So to do 47 pages, you will spend this much. So it's very open. Before you engage these agents, they'll give you a quotation and estimate, and based on that, you can approve and utilize these agents. So this is our system also tracks all the prior usage. So you'll see all the prior usage, how much credits have been used. So this is fully loaded up for anybody to use it. One thing which I'll elaborate, the way we can afford these credits is because we are using a blockchain-based payment rails. You don't have to worry about it. This is all happening at the back end. You just interact with your most known credit-based systems. So these are the credit bundles. And if you come to my profile, I have got, it gives the name, etc., and it shows the credits. Now, coming to what can I do with this, I will come to create new. And today's session, we have purposefully done it for public equities because anybody can relate to this. So if you do an asset analysis, you can select documents. Now, one of the very cool thing which I feel very good about is you can use this to analyze private equities. If you do private equities, you'll be asked to upload due diligence reports, term sheets, financial overview, investor presentations, offering memorandum, all that stuff. But not very many people know these things. These are private assets. So only if it's your asset, you can understand. But this can be utilized for any kind of CRE or CMBS assets. But for today's purposes, I will focus on public equities. The beauty of public equities are these forms like 10K, 10Q, 8K, 13F, Form 4, these are all publicly available. Most big companies have a dedicated investor site where you can find them. If they do not, you can go to SEC's Edgar sites and download these. These are all publicly based information. And these are deep, dense documents, sometimes hundreds of pages. Mere mortals cannot process it unless you are Warren Buffett. And that's what this agentic data room does. But a lot of things about public equities can be formed by going through these. Like 10K is a yearly annual checkup. It's a full audited statement, but it comes once a year. 10Q comes every quarter. It's unaudited, but it will give you a directional check every quarter. Now, very interesting thing are things like 8K. This happens asynchronously whenever it happens. Whenever there is a leadership change, a CEO resignation, or a new CEO coming on board, or a huge contract won, these people are obligated to file 8Ks. So you can create a lot of picture of these public assets by going through these. So we're giving this guidance. Now I'll say, got it. Now let's get into the action. And I will try to, we will try to go analyze the SEC filings of Micron. So I have put together these. I'll just drag and drop it here. And as soon as I dragged and dropped it, it makes a list of all these files. And then it also gives the guidance. This is actually very good. I typically it expects up to 8 documents, but I'm giving only 4. But it gives me a guidance that you have given only for about 50%. Let's see what he can do. And then there are the AI instructions, and you can analyze the funds using this. So when you do it, this is where the magic happens. Very, very proud of this. So now AI agents, Orchestrator Omni and his subordinates or his, let's say, his partners, they come together and analyze the asset. And it says that, you have given me 398 pages, which costs approximately 3.5 credits. So I will do document extraction. I will calculate the matrix. I will do risk modeling. I will do report generation. For that, I'll need 1,393 credits, which is approximately $13, right? Don't get scared by this number. This is like meant for one-off usage, but if you are using it in bulk, we can work out a structure and payment structure. But this gives you like what will be the cost of this going through these 400 pages. So I will authorize and run. This will take a few minutes, so I'll let it start. It is scanning through the documents. So let it continue. And just like a cooking show, I will go back to our activity history. So if I go to the activity history, this current analysis is going on. But last night I prepared this Micron just so that I can show it to you. I don't have to wait live during the webinar. So I go to Micron. So when it goes, the first thing it does is shows a price chart of Micron, and Micron has done very, very well. By the way, I am no investment advisor. I'm not a registered broker, neither this thing. So this is purely for education purposes. So it's directional. So please do not go crazy by listening to this and start investing. Make your own judgment. But I have to put it out. I'm not a financial advisor. So first there is this price chart. Then it gives you the summary of the asset. Ticker symbol is MU. This is the site of Micron. Last year, as of August 2028, as of date is very important. The revenue was 37 billion, expenses was 5 billion, total assets was 82 billion, liabilities 28 billion. Along with the agentic AI, we are using quantitative modeling, and this is very, very, very interesting. So, agentic AI is very good in taking those documents and extracting facts, but how do we utilize these facts are very important. So, we have come up with 5 dimensions: a dimension of valuation, growth, profitability, momentum, and revisions. I'll go over each one of these. Valuation evaluates things like PE, EV divided by EBITDA. All right. So these are the things which tells you how good this is. The reason this is giving a strong sell is because the stock has done a very, very good run. So maybe it is overpriced, right? We do not know, but at least the quants are saying it's a strong sell. Growth assesses your revenue growth, EPS growth, forward estimates, guidance updates, and it is a strong buy as per growth. This is a great growth strategy. When it comes to profitability, it measures the gross margin, operating margin, net margin, return on equity, all that kind of matrix. Now, keep in mind from those hundreds of pages, we extract all these matrix, combine them together, then score them against a particular dimension. Momentum is how good the stock has performed, and we compare it against S&P 500 or other things to find out. And again, the momentum is very strong. Revisions are very interesting, that how many times analysts have upgraded or downgraded. And this is very interesting. Every time they come up with a quarterly report or they do a 8K, analysts will update their analysis. And based on that, we update this. This is actually a very strong indicator, and we are giving a strong buy there. So this is the overall rating score, and we are giving it a buy rating. Next is the asset analysis, which gives you a high level kind of due diligence thing of the asset. Very interesting is marketing intelligence, where it puts all these scores side by side and creates like a visualization so that you can see all these matrices. It also shows the investment themes. Why is Micron so hot? Because the AI is hot. Everybody's putting data centers. They need memory and also very high bandwidth memory. So that's what these guys do. So that's the key investment theme, right? I'm not going to read it in detail, but you get the picture. Performance will show you the quarterly returns versus benchmarks. And these are all extracted and prepared by our AI agents from the documents. Peer analysis will show you how they are doing their 3-year return compared to their closest competitors like Samsung or SK Hynix or Western Digital, Intel or Seagate. So these are the closest competitors and how is their performance. News and views is also very interesting. How does it show up in the overall blogosphere? So there are 4 positive news, 1 neutral news, and also the analyst views. What is UBS saying? What is Citigroup saying? What is JP Morgan saying? So, within minutes, you can see that this can be prepared. Now, a very interesting thing, of course, I should show you the Q&A assistant. You can ask any question like, this is Analyst Annie, who is the CEO of Micron, right? Or so let's see whether he can answer that question. The chairman, president, and CEO is Sanjay Mehrotra, and it also gives the citation where it is pulling from. You can ask what was Micron's fiscal year 2025 annual revenue, and these are all previous questions. So it is pulling from Form 10K or asset summary, and they made about $37 billion of revenue. So this is the question answer assistant. Now, I'll come to equity model later, but I want to show you, like if you come to more and go to document analysis, all the documents we have kept it. All the documents which are uploaded, we have kept it, and all the key facts were uploaded. So again, 10K, 10Q, this particular one is very interesting. This is, if you see the preview, this is every company publishes in their website kind of a very detailed yearly presentation. And this is the singular most important thing. And again, this company is headed by Sanjay Mehrotra. He is the CEO of the company. You can see that. But all the factums of these documents are extracted here. So these are almost like the building blocks of the higher level things. So you can see what is going on in each document. And then finally, I'll come back to overview again so that you can see each one of these. But a very, very, very interesting thing is the equity model. So we have asked AI to prepare an equity model, like a scenario modeling. There are many different things, but I will go to the scenarios. So scenarios are very interesting. Right now, it's about $440 stock. So it created three scenarios: bull case, base case, and bear case. Please don't go crazy about this. I'm not an advisor. This is an AI agent creating different scenarios. So first he does predictive models, and then he tries to say that in 12 months, the price target can be 858. In bull case, oh my God, that can be 1700. So this can be a big winner. And in bear case, it can be 420. It'll be like a wash at that time. But I find the equity model to be very interesting. We can always ask analysts and all that, but this is condensing all the different analyst inputs, all the different sources, and using quantitative models to create a bull case, bear case, and base case. So this is how you can analyze these. And if I go to activity history again, my latest thing has also been finished, and it has a date timestamp. We can always look into that. With that, Agentic Data Room, we're very, very excited because now with a few dollars, you can have a world-class fleet of AI agents to analyze any asset, whether it's a public asset or a private asset. You can get a quantitative input into your analysis. These set of AI agents does not make any emotional decisions. They're pretty data and quant driven. So I find it very interesting. So it's almost like asking an expert in my hand that what do you guys think about this asset? Is it investable? What can it become in 12 months? Well, how have they done historically? So again, like the way I look at it, if you are Warren Buffett, you can probably do all this, but I'm a mere mortal, so I can definitely use help like this. So again, this is a series of webinars. I'm going to send you invites into this data room. It is loaded up with credits, so you don't have to burn anything. Use this, provide us feedback, and then we will go from, we'll find out how to take this. But we will do a series of webinars. In subsequent sessions, I'll talk about the AI standards, about the payment rails, about different kind of workspaces, and we will go from there. So just a quick hint into this workspace. These can be used for many different workflows, like when you hire them for financial analysis. Orchestrator, this is kind of visualization will show you how Orchestrator Omni can hire these other AI agents and what they can perform. So similarly, you can use them for other workflows. So with that, I will open it up for any question answers. I'll stop the screen share. Please feel free to ask me any questions. Let me see if I can, since this is I should give you like speaking rights, which I do not know why. Allowed to talk. I'm giving you, Paul. So anybody can ask me any questions. Instead of typing, you can ask me, or if you give any suggestion, will be very appreciated.
Hi, Mr. Banerjee, this is Kaushik. Good morning. First question, actually, 8K is basically a filing that is done by any publicly listed company in case there is a material change in company's position, right? As you mentioned, CEO or the leadership team change. Also, in case there is a audit finding which may actually have material impact, or any breaches which may actually have a material impact and so forth. So does the agent Annie, as you mentioned, have a feature which basically tracks companies and proactively alerts, or that is not a feature that is out there as of yet?
Very, very, very good question, Kaushik. Actually, things like 8K tells a lot of stories. Uh, each of these public assets, the beauty is they have very powerful investor side, and you can sign up as alerts. So we have signed up as an alert. So whenever they submit an 8K, we'll get an alert and re-trigger this agentic data room. For example, let's say, God forbid, if Sanjay Mehrotra buys some, sells some Micron, we'll get that trigger, and then we can find out whether that's a sell signal for us. If Sanjay, on the other hand, the CEO, buys something, that's actually a potential buy signal. So you can sign up for alerts in their investor website. We will get a notification and re-trigger a computation. That's very much within our things. Right now, you can do the re-triggering manually, or you can do it by an event-driven base. But very good question. So that is a feature that we are working towards. We will surface it very soon.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. Also, there is another question. I suspect the first part was also answered by you already, as you were doing the case, scenarios based on economic scenario and so forth. But I've got a second question actually, which is, uh, you know, uh, every particular company listed or operating in our world has got a core. Core industries. Say, for example, Walmart for retail, or Home Depot for home improvement, and so forth, right? So they are dependent on the macro and microeconomic scenario of the geography they operate in. So, and subsequently, dependency on supply chain and so forth. So, does the engine per se have any option to basically scale up and seek information about what is going on macro microeconomically, what are the impact on supply chain, based on geopolitical events and so forth, or what may be the possible events based on geopolitical events and so forth, and give a guidance, just you showed on the bull bear case scenarios as well.
So this is an outstanding question, Kaushik. I'm going to share with you like my 10 years plus of doing machine learning, deep learning. People think that more data it is better, but more data may not always be better because you have to qualify the data, you have to curate the data, and you have to also find the predictive power of data. So we can throw in all kinds of external macro signals like price of gold, or exchange rates, or the interest rates. Those are definitely we can do, but we have to utilize those very carefully because we need to find the predictive power of those external signals to the sensitivity of the price action, right? So for doing that, First of all, I'll say a lot of story comes out in the filings. Mere mortals like me do not have the patience to go through these 400 pages. People like Warren Buffett actually do. That's why they are Warren Buffett. But there is a lot of signals within those public filings. On top of that, based on certain industry, we definitely go through external signals. The typical things are definitely FOMC meetings and interest rates. Definitely price of precious metals because that shows where capital is flying, right? There is definitely, this day energy is a very big thing. So you track the price of Brent and stuff like that. So we definitely use some of the external signals, but there is another key part of your question, which is the sector and the industry. So depending on the sector and the industry, we also identify a few competitors and participants and rank order these things. That's how the scores are computed. And some external signals are very dependent on the particular sector or the industry. So, outstanding question. But one thing which I have tried to do is let's see whether we can get the full juice out of these public filings. After that, we'll go to all kinds of external signals.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Again, the big thing is, Andrea is attending this. She's a real estate attorney and a real estate guru. So the idea is the reason I showed public equities is because anybody can relate to it, right? We all know Micron. We can go look up the stock price, etc. But the same software can be utilized for analyzing a piece of real estate, doing real estate finance. And the mechanisms are very, very similar. You identify the documents and you upload them, and our AI agents will analyze them and prepare the results, and you can review the results and find out their investability, etc. So, big story is we are utilizing the same thing for multiple workflows, and I'll have a dedicated session in a few weeks to show you these different workflows. Because different workflows will have different KPIs, different document sets, different instructions to the AI agents, of course, different AI agents. So that customizability, I believe, is a very big power of this agentic data room. Any questions, Paul? You've always given me very good guidance. What do you think? Any
Yeah,
suggestions?
yeah. So, quick thought on it. I think it's good to use the public markets like Micron stock as an example, but that's going to be a really, really uh, heavily worked space. I think what's really interesting is when you get to the private market and the real estate side of it, because I can go out and have analysts do all that work that Warren Buffett would have done. So a lot of it gets done. So all the public stocks are, I don't know if I'd want to be utilizing just this to trade public stocks. On the flip side, if I'm a fund manager and I'm offering um, a private investment, or I'm an investor and I have private investments, nobody's going to go do this for me. So this tool with this Omni and all these agents would be great to go do that. So I think my thought on explaining this is that you're only using public stocks just because the data is readily available and it's understandable and it's easy. But that's not where the true value of this is going to come in. People do that all day. There's all kinds of people working on that and all kinds of people looking at Micron stock, and they are looking at all kinds of externalities and competition and all that kind of stuff. But that is much harder to find that type of information and get that kind of help on private investments. And that's why I think this really will shine the most.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
You're spot on. First of all, the reason I chose public equities is it's almost like a seminar candidate, it's a webinar candidate, it's a tutorial so that anybody can relate to it, right? It's also to kind of tune our software because these AI agents will get better if you give them more data. And where do you find most data? You get it from the public sources, right? So we train them, prepared them, make them more and more accurate using public data, and then we will apply for private data. Private data is uh, few. You do not get that much data. And also the data is not I'd say it's not high octane. It's not prepared very well. No disrespect to anyone, but private data can be very it is not prepared well, but the public data has gone through so much due diligence. It's very high octane fuel, so the AI agents can use them properly. So it's a webinar candidate. It's a way to kind of articulate the message, and it is also for internal AI agents to train them up. That's the thing, but the ultimate value would be when we apply it in private assets.
Yeah, to add to what Paul said, this is really cool, and I can see this being a really great benefit to, property owners that own like either office buildings or multifamily, especially office buildings where they have, 50 leases for one property and then they have 50 properties, and how to analyze when those leases expire and the income and projections. Like this is just an incredible tool for those types of owners. Just as an example, but I think any kind of owner of commercial property could benefit from this. It's really cool.
Thank you. And Andrea, I'm going to state the obvious. If you look at Mosaic AI, the software that we have built, this represents the next generation of the software, because no matter what you do, whether you do an appraisal, whether you do valuation or you do tokenization, first thing is the data room, right? Data room is the ground floor. So you collect your documents, put them in a data room, and from there you can crank up multiple different applications. Maybe you want to crank up a fundraising website, so that we can do. You want to crank out a valuation model or a rent roll analysis. So you can launch multiple applications from this data room framework, right? So this is the foundation. That's how I look at it. Does that make sense, Andrea, to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
This is
it
the next
really.
generation of Mosaic software, and we are
Hmm.
using it highly agentic, modern standard-based, blockchain-based payment rails. Also, which people do not, which I'll cover in the next things, is how do you prepare the trust, or how do you get the trust of these agents? These agents will have a identity registry and a reputation registry using a standard called 8004 that came out of Google, Coinbase, Ethereum Foundation. Basically, every AI agent has a registry on the blockchain, and you can find his or her reputation score. So that will provide the trustworthiness of these agents. So very big dream here. All right. If not anything else, thank you for attending this. All of you have been very, very helpful throughout the journey. I'm going to send you invites and send you some materials. And yeah, feel free to show up in the next session so I can send you a recording. Wishing everyone a very nice day ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm wrapping this up.